And we're now recording. Hello, everyone. My name is Bob Killen. I am one of the chairs for SIG Contributor Experience, and this is our weekly meeting. These meetings are recorded, and we all abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which can essentially be boiled down to please be excellent to each other. Before we get into our recurring business, let's go ahead and do a couple intros. Feel free to jump in if you're new here. Allison, why don't you kick it off?
Hello, everyone. I'm Allison. I help out with the new contributor workshop, and yeah, I'm a member of SIG ContribEx. It's my intro.
Nikita, you want to do a round quick?
Sure. Hey everyone, I'm Nikita. I'm one of the technical leads for SIG ContribEx, and I know this is awkward. I work in India, and I'm also part of the GitHub management team. So if you have questions about GitHub management and tech stuff, reach out to me.
Okay. Now I've picked on specific people. Does anyone else want to introduce themselves?
Yeah, I will. Hi, so my name is Adam Kane. I'm actually an Air Force officer. I'm working at VMware for about 10 months. I don't know if anyone's probably seen me in a meeting or two. So I'm actually working with George and Amanda on, the upstream Kubernetes team to kind of learn more about upstream Kubernetes and how you guys contribute to the CNCF. So literally here to just absorb information. I'm a program manager, and so trying to take on that management role for Kubernetes, and very excited to be here. This is my first meeting. And then also, Bob, I tried to get access to the doc and I sent a request, but
have you joined the ContribEx mailing list?
No. So this is my first everything.
The doc should be shared with Kubernetes Dev and the ContribEx mailing lists. I think this might actually be a artifact of the doc is still technically owned by a Googler, and some permission changes were made recently because it used to be open to at least be view for anyone with a link.
Okay.
We sort of knew this was coming, but I guess the change has now gone into effect. So George and I will need to make a new instance of the notes probably for the next meeting.
Okay, no problem. But yeah.
Sorry about that.
Hey, no, it's all good. But yeah, that's me. So.
Okay. Well, welcome aboard. Happy to have you. Would anyone else like to introduce themselves? Otherwise, we can get right into the stand-up and other fun stuff.
Oh, I'll go. Hi, I'm Ellen May. I'm a product manager on Project Pacific at VMware, and I'm just interested in getting to know my way around the Kubernetes community and eventually get on board with some projects, but I'm not sure where to start. So I'd like to kind of get my feet wet just by getting to know you all and what's going on.
Awesome. Well, again, welcome to have you. Something you might be interested in after this, we can follow up, is the enhancement subproject under SIG Arch, which sort of wrangles all the features that are being developed in Kubernetes with each release. But again, we can punt that and talk about that like after the meeting or in Slack or something. Okay. Does anyone else want to introduce themselves? Okay, we'll get right into our recurring business with events, office hours. George. Okay, I guess he dropped. I thought he popped back in here. So that, and it'll be same for community meeting. We'll punt right over to the contributor summits. we have a poll that was sent out to the leads mailing list. We are still waiting for some feedback on it, whether we're going to have one sometime in the remainder of this cycle. Right now it's trending towards yes, but with a focus of being social only. We'll have an actual answer probably sometime late next week. Does anyone have any questions about that?
If we do social only, what are we planning to do? Do we have ideas?
Yeah, I have a couple ideas. It will probably be more like the sort of unofficial SIG Friday things that are going on where people can hop in and just sort of like chat, hang out. The other idea is like, either use something like Discord where people can sort of join in and play like a bunch of different games with each other, or do something like some of the web only games, so you don't necessarily have to have like Steam or one of the other things installed. Again, kind of tossing around several ideas. I think it's mostly people just want to have non, work related time on a call to like just chat with people.
Yeah, the hallway track at the Contributor Summit, sort of.
Pretty much.
Some of it. There's a few creative apps now out there. Like, I'm trying to remember, there's one where you like wander around an 8-bit video game, and when you run into people, it becomes a conference call.
So that was actually developed by someone that both George and I actually game with. Yeah, we have a couple different options where we're could potentially look into. And I will punt that for now for the sake of time and getting through all our milestone options and things like that. Any other quick comments before I move on to the next thing? Okay. Election status. Josh, do you know how many voters we actually got?
That would be me.
I'm sorry.
So, the election's closed. We have the results. One of the things I'm honestly putting in the retro is that we should not have a full week between the election closing and announcing the results, because it puts us in this weird position of sitting on the results because they're not supposed to be disclosed to anyone until the meeting.
No.
So
you could do it, Josh.
Yep. Yeah, it's just, having this long interval doesn't help for anything, and means that I've got this weird thing where it's like, for the non-running SC members, I'm like, well, we have the results, but I'm not going to tell you until Friday. So yeah, it's done. We know who our new SC members. Well, 3 of us know who our new SC members are going to be, and everyone else will find out on Monday at the public COC, the public steering meeting.
How many voters did we actually wind up getting?
312, I think. Hold on.
That's about 60 less. That's about 60 less than last year.
Yeah, but also we had less people eligible to vote because we restricted it to org members. However, looking at the voting pattern, I don't think restricting it to org members had much of an effect. I think we had maybe a total of well, actually, we didn't have anybody ask for exceptions because they met the contribution threshold but weren't an org member.
Yeah.
So the real truth is, one of the things I'm saying is we could actually eliminate that requirement, not because it's not a good idea, but because it's completely unnecessary.
So the main reason why we had the requirement for like being an org member was to make sure we were on the KDev mailing list. and people were actually paying attention, because last year when we were trying to hunt people down, we were even going to like LinkedIn and things like that to try and get their contact information, and most of these people had no idea that what was involved, or what was going on with it. Sort of the point was to try and make sure that the voting body was at least informed by being on the mailing list.
Well, so I'll say basically only org members tried to vote. So that wasn't really a thing. And I will say that there are apparently a number of org members who are no longer on KDev, or at least are not reading it.
Yeah,
Based on the number of people who contacted me.
Yep.
Yeah, based on the number of people who contacted me asking for a voting exception yesterday.
So that is the case.
Mm-hmm.
But like KDev is the one thing we can enforce. That is the thing that they should be reading, even if they are not.
Right.
There's not much we can do about that one.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, we can, as you know intimately, we can no longer even check if people are on KDev.
Yep.
This is
so we will, before we dive, before we spin on that one, we can save that for the actual retro. I'm just trying to be cognizant of time so we can get through this stuff. Now that is there any other questions or comments on the steering before we go back to office hours and community meeting? Okay, George, you want to? Yep.
Sorry, I'm late. My Zoom was stuck in a crash loop. Office hours is in a weird situation where it's actually going after the community meeting, because the first of the month was on a Thursday, and we always do third Thursday of the month. So no updates this week for that. The community meeting, the host is going to be Dan Papa. I don't actually remember his last name. Dan Pop. I think everyone knows him at Cube from KubeCon. He's at Weaveworks, and he'll be hosting this month's community meeting, which is next Thursday. All the SIGs have responded. The notes are basically done. He's doing a really great job there. And that's all I have, unless people have questions. And I take it you all met Adam.
Yep.
Awesome. Bob, keep going. I'll fill in my own notes.
Okay. So that will take us to mentoring. Do we have any mentoring updates at this time? I don't think there have been any updates to like the new contributor stuff since we last met.
Do we know if we're all good for Community Bridge for the steering thing?
Yeah, we had to go off the normal Community Bridge schedule because our Community Bridge application was actually not working before they closed the normal applications. But once I complained, they restarted it. We're kind of on our own project schedule. We'll be picking a mentee on Monday, which is actually going to be really difficult. I'm glad I pushed for them to redo it and reopen it, because we got some extremely qualified candidates, down to the point where, like, I wish I had a second project. So,
wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on that? Or the new contributor workshop? Okay. Community management. I don't think there's anything at this time that goes into the need to know email. And looks like there is no updates from the APAC coordinator. So with that, we will go right.
I'm sorry. There's one thing I'm going to add to the email, and I'm just going to let everyone know, because I know the rest of you participate in SIGs. I had a SIG chair come ask me about swag and t-shirts for new contributors, and just feel free to tell people we got plenty of codes from the CNCF. If you're in a SIG and there's a new person and they're rocking it and you're a chair or TL and want to get them a t-shirt, ping me and we'll just get them a t-shirt. I know attendance and meetings have been like rough lately and stuff, and if a new person's showing and rocking it, let's just give them a t-shirt. So
That should be something that's documented in the chairs and TLs subdir. Like we should actually put that in there.
You think so? Oh, in Markdown in the repo, you mean?
Yeah. So like
okay.
we have the guide for chairs and TLs that's fairly light on content at the moment. So that would be a good item to put in there.
I will do so.
Okay. Actually, toss a quick.
I'm to doing it now.
Okay. Okay. Are there any other community management items? Okay. That will take us over to dev stats. I don't see Lori on the line.
No, I'm right here.
Jen. Oh.
Yeah. But Jenny
okay.
should speak because she's been mainly driving the week's installment there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, just an FYI. So regarding the new reporting, we are still reshaping the document, and my goal would be to finish that this week and then start reaching out to the SIGs from next week on. And that's it.
Oh, that's awesome. I actually started like looking at the weekly progress report. I think it was last week. I missed it when it was going on. The original discussion was going on in Slack, but like I'm all gung ho for that sort of thing. It looks good. Thank you.
So when I last looked at the draft on Thursday, it was around 3 pages. Have you been able to cut that down at all? Because it's a real long doc for these folks to look at. As you know, you were also trying to shorten it.
Yeah, I'm about to write in Slack to Sergey, and yeah, for me it's the same. It should have at the max 2 pages, and even that is quite long already.
I would shoot for 1.
Yeah.
Like you could always give them more information. I think it's that teaser, just getting the conversation going. Like, what's the offer? You know, what are the metrics that you're providing in this report? And then if they say, oh, we'd like to know more, then you have it in your back pocket. So I can help you with that too. Like I'll push for 1 page. Just let me know, but it seems like you've been handling this pretty well.
But I will reach out. So.
Okay.
And thank you. Really appreciate everything. Are there any other questions or comments for DevStats?
I think we're about wrapping up the data points, like what data points would be necessary for users, different types of users. There's just one person I think we're waiting on is Laura from to talk about small companies, OSPMs at small companies. So she just got back to me today.
Oh,
and
nice.
She will.
I saw that. Yep. Nice job.
Yeah, she will just drop some information. So it's all fine.
Awesome. Okay, and that will kick us over to marketing. Is there anyone from the marketing team that would like to give an update? Okay, they seem to be sort of like chugging along with stuff. Contributor docs. For the most part, this has sort of just been not too much new stuff on going on over here. Rin, our season of docs mentee, is still going through and applying the style guide to the contributor guide. But are there any other sort of like updates for the contributor guide, developer guide, or contributor site? Okay, it'll take us to GitHub management. Biggest thing is Incubator is finally retired. The thing that's taken like 2.5, I think 3 years, almost 3 years now to do. That org is finally done with. Oh, Nikita, the GitHub recognition feature. Do you want to read this one, or do you want me to?
You can do it. You've been in touch with it anyway.
Okay. So the other thing, we've been talking about this in the GitHub management Slack channel. But GitHub asked if we wanted to participate in a beta to try and enable like just some methods of recognition through GitHub. And so what we can do is we can do like in a they've added a command and it can be tailored to the org. For us, it'll be /shoutout, and then you can do like like /shoutout Nikita for that awesome PR review, and that will show up in their hover card. So if you like hover over their profile, it will say like, they got a shout out for this, and right now it's like repo specific, and it will also be viewable from like if you go browse the root of the repo, you'll be able to see it there. The long-term goal is to be able to aggregate this up to both the org level and have it be presentable on the person's like GitHub profile page. When that happens, they will have a whole slew of like different moderation stuff that's rolled out to prevent like spamming. But for our go live next week, there will just be a limited subset of those capabilities. Something will like I can send a email out to the ContribEx mailing list along with a general announcement to KDev about it with some details. Excuse me. One nice thing is that like GitHub has historically, like when you go look at someone's profile page, like they just have all the green bars or green blocks of essentially commits. So this gives people the way to get like recognized, or a little thing on their profile for things that weren't necessarily PRs.
Bob,
shoot.
Will we be able to poke at the API to find out who's gotten the commits? I'm thinking, the following people got a kudos for 1.20, and then we have a nice, because that would
don't know. I don't think so for the actual beta.
Okay.
But more of that will be in there.
Too soon.
Like this will be eventually be a great stat to dump to dev stats.
Yeah.
There are other controls like limits on how many people can give per day, who can give them, like can be restricted to org members. Again, we'll distribute more details soon. Any other sort of questions about that or GitHub management? Okay, Slack infra, I don't think there's any updates. Are there any open mic discussion items before we dive into triage and milestoning?
Actually, a quick Slack update. We've made explicit some certain things about what we expect of channels in our Slack that we had not written down before. Like we're expecting you to be an open source project and things that were kind of unwritten rules that the moderators were doing back and forth. So check the Slack page in the GitHub repo. I basically took everything that Jay said and turned it into a PR. Just FYI on that one. I'll add that to the notes.
Okay, with that, we are through our regularly scheduled program. I will now switch over to my other system. And I will share my screen in just a moment. Okay. So last we left off, we went through and the 1.19 milestone and either closed out the remaining items or bump those off to the next milestone or dump them into milestone next. So before we start going through any potential items that haven't been tagged with a milestone, I just want to go through milestone next to see if there is anything we actually want to work on. So Kubernetes alpha feature posts, this I believe this would actually be good to bring up with enhancements. We talked about this briefly as a means of getting more users to see alpha features and test alpha features. But we sort of put it on hold because we didn't want to potentially trigger dogpiling. What do you think, Lori?
Sorry, I wasn't looking.
Oh, it's all good. Essentially, this is trying to get some marketing and early feedback on enhancements when they go to alpha on like Discuss and some other areas.
Oh, yeah, I guess I would have to look at that issue and then provide some feedback there. I know.
Okay.
I would be looking for how could we recalibrate towards the process that we'd like to see. Like,
yep.
I've heard things about what happens with alpha and beta that we might want to shift
I will.
a bit. So that would be
just.
what I would do to in this blog post.
Okay. I will just assign it to you. Feel free to unassign. This is just so you can see it and get eyes on it.
Okay.
And feel free to unassign it when you're done. But this, like, since I can't CC you as it's an issue, it's easier just to assign.
I'll leave bullet points in the comments and then I'll be done.
Okay. For now, we'll still leave it in milestone next till we decide what to do with it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Process for Summit team shadows. Honestly, I'm thinking we still leave this one in next for now. It's talking about how we solicit shadows for our various events. And because events are kind of somewhat on hold right now, probably could just leave that one there. One-on-one mentoring process improvements. Does anyone have some more context around this one? We generally haven't done one-on-one mentoring just because it's so time intensive.
Yeah, no, Paris is running a group mentoring cohort for SIG Node with Dems. So I think group mentoring is going to be a priority, at least for 120.
Okay. I will leave this one as is. Blog series. This is more of a general, like this essentially ties into the marketing team and is sort of like an umbrella issue of their blogs on the various SIGs and things like that. It's more of a general item and not something that's tied to a specific milestone. Honestly, like we might be able to. Oh no, this isn't the SIG profiling. This is talking about some of our other stuff, but it's a broad issue of topics. It's not actually. This should probably go to the marketing team for review. It's on their boards. Okay. Does anyone have a problem with me leaving that on milestone next for now? Next one, removal of language that might come across as inconsiderate. I think this we can actually probably close because it's being handled by, okay, Celeste is on it. I
Yeah,
will leave
feel-
that one as is.
I feel that there's some that are being overlapped there, where it might make sense for us to close it now that we know that WG naming has an open issue for it.
Yep. What I can do is,
But we could say that about all the tracking issues as well.
yeah.
Like, it might make sense to keep the tracking issue open in next, but then open a separate issue milestoned to 1.20 on what part of that next thing we want to bust out this cycle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we do have one for in KORG for at least the branch rename. I honestly have a feeling that most of these items in next are going to remain in next, but it's good to just go through them anyway.
Yeah.
Responsive SIG chairs needs improvement. This is a long-term multi.
I also feel like when we did this, things like the SIG chairs TL newsletter, mailing list, Slack channel all did not exist.
The Slack channel and chair TL, or the need to know did exist.
Okay.
We still have some issues with comms and SIG being responsive, but I think this might be something more akin to the check-in, the steering check-in with the SIGs.
Yeah, which starts on February.
What do you think, Nikita?
Probably we could label this as a steering issue. I think it was labeled as a steering issue before. I don't remember why it got removed.
It is every SIG but steering.
Yeah, I think we could just label it as steering, and I'll make sure that we triage it there.
I'm all for passing the buck. Nikita, you passed the buck to yourself. That was
awesome. Invalid owners files in SIGs.yaml. I think the broken ones have been fixed. But this is just one of those things that's going to be forever an issue, unfortunately, just since like these don't stay in sync with what's actually happening. Sorry, like in KK and elsewhere. There isn't a good solution for this really yet, as long as we continue to track some of the sub-project owners files in this repo separately. I do plan on actually revisiting some of this soon for other reasons, so I can at least assign myself to take care and audit these things just to get them up to date this cycle.
I also think this, I mean, if we are doing it this cycle, that's great, but this would probably also get rolled as part of the SIG annual report check-in thing.
Would you like me to loop in committee steering on this as well?
Yep, that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Create a URL shortener. This has come up, like there's been some stuff in the Kates.io repo about this. It's a great idea. I don't know how much traction there's ever going to be. Does anyone happen to have any idea on the status of this?
I don't remember why we wanted to create a URL shortener. So yeah, I don't have an idea. Yeah, we could probably close it. I think.
Well, it was going to auto close, but STP Michael opened it back up again. So I'm just gonna ping in there. Like it's a good idea. It's just kind of low on the priority list. Update E2E testing guide. I actually think there have been some changes here, some updates here. So the last update was in June. And, well, this issue is also very, very old. Nikita, what do you think?
I'll need to check again, and we should probably ask SIG testing to close this if they're okay with the current state, I think.
They are looped on the issue.
I also realized it's almost the 2-year anniversary for this issue.
Yeah. I'm not missing any chairs out in SIG testing, right? I think that's all 3.
That looks good, I think.
1 sec. Oops. Yep. Okay. And then this was actually Eric, one of our tech writers, had updated some of this. Well, I think that was the kubetest2 documentation. But I will still leave it there for now. This is another one that's just been open forever. The mentoring program enhancements. One-on-one improvements, group mentoring improvements, group mentoring. Yeah, as this is an umbrella issue, I think just gonna leave this one here. Should revisit the other ones to see if they're good though. And this issue is directly related to the other one that we were just talking about, where the owner's files references in SIG.YAML will be out of date.
Yeah, I think this could be looped into the steering check-ins and maybe close in favor of the other issue, or vice versa.
To 4125. this one is honestly not us. It's come up a couple times. I think some parts of it aren't documented. I think I'm just going to life cycle frozen this one. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone here can really resolve that one. But we can at least follow up on it at some point. Like going through and trying to find the points at least where docs are outdated is something I really would like to try and do this cycle as well. Very similar issue. So this should get on SIG Arch's radar. Sign at DIMS. Actually. This, I think we are actually good to close. The final issue around this. Yeah. So I would really like to actually get like Eric's thoughts on this as well, because they were open to the idea of revisiting the entire developer guide from an information architecture perspective. This one, Markdown linter for all of Kate's. I think we all collectively agreed that we didn't want to do this. It came up in one of the meetings. Yeah, hear my comments on it. Like the only thing we really potentially want to do is some very, very basic ones. Like and this one here where you need to have blank lines around a list, but I'm still sort of in favor of just closing this one. Does anyone else have any other thoughts?
I am a bit +1 to that, and I think we did come to that conclusion many meetings ago too.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey, I had a quick question. I don't know. I don't want to interrupt anything.
oh, it's all we're essentially just going through our issue like milestone. It's essentially like issue triage. What's up?
I wanted to opt in the kubectl repo into the new needs triage label, and I didn't know if there was an easy way to do that.
I can get a PR out for that in 30 minutes.
Awesome.
One note on that one: don't at least PRs go to KK, not the kubectl repo.
Yeah, totally. We have a bot set up to close all that.
Okay, so it would just be for issues. Well, if PRs aren't being opened, it doesn't matter. Never mind. Okay.
Thank you, Nikita and Bob.
So next, finding seconds alternatives less active reviewers, approvers. Same thing, like updating owners' files. There's a couple other owners ones I believe in here. And a lot of this just boils down to consolidating the issues down to one overview of the issues with the owners in the current form. Honestly, like I am still probably the best person to do all this. I don't know if I will get to it this cycle, but I'll at least assign it to myself. We've also been doing some of this work indirectly just through the cleanup of all the owners' files with the pruning of the org. So I don't think any traction has been made on this issue. Marky looks like he was looking into it. I will leave it as is in the current milestone, and in milestone next. This one. G Suite processing guidelines. So George, we were actually just talking about this one not too long ago.
Assign me for 1.20.
Group mentoring, rescope, process improvements. Honestly, I'm not informed enough to be able to make a decision on this one.
Indeed.
Sorry, totally not relevant to this. I think I've already created the PR to enable needs triage on kubectl, so if you could take a look at it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I think this is actually sort of being worked on in a couple different ways. I saw a PR and tested for about something related to this. And then we also have the GitHub recognition beta we're trying. What do you think, Nikita?
Yeah, I maybe assign this to me. I still need to review the test and FRAPIR. You know, it basically solves this issue, but it's a work in progress right now.
I'm actually going to assign all three of us, just because, like, on some of the other items, we were also talking about, like, listing in the chairs and TLs directory the different means that people can use to, like, different reward mechanisms, like, you know, getting the promo codes and all that. So I do think that we can at least handle this between all of us this cycle.
Sounds good.
Process for requesting community surveys. I think I outlined the various issues with it. I think this mostly just needs someone to document it someplace. So while I'll leave this in milestone next, but I think there's enough information in the thread here to cover it. What do folks think about? Well, does anyone actually want to do this themselves, or if not,
given that I'm usually the one to create the actual survey, I'm happy to help it out if someone can pick an actual location for the document.
Okay. I think it would go in our communications directory, honestly.
Okay.
It's the best thing I can sort of umbrella area that I can think it would go.
Want to put that in your comment?
Yep. Okay. And do you think you can tackle that this cycle, or should I leave it in next for now?
I mean, we're talking about a document that's going to be half a page long. Yes.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
Yep. The hard part that I don't have a solution for is making sure that relevant people actually know that that capability exists.
I am actually working on that one.
Because
I need to create an issue for it.
Yeah, because I can't tell you the number of times that I've seen a SIG come out with a survey and I, running on somebody's private whatever, and I say, we have community survey monkey.
There's an issue on that.
What my current plan is, and I do actually plan on creating an issue for this, is on the contributor site webpage, going to have a list of services. The list of services are going to be all the various things, like, you need to request a repo, you go here, Slack channel, you go here, and then link out to the various different documentation sources. So that way there will be sort of a one-stop shop for all these various things. The goal is not to have all the documentation right there, at least to start, but to just like offer an index and link out. I also just realized that we are now almost out of time. I don't want to hold up people.
Adam and I were just talking in the background. Do you have any good first issue or something that maybe he can tackle, and I can mentor him on that.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Or if anyone does and wants to send one to me.
What about this KEPS website? Maybe that's not. I think you
Something
need
that
Hugo
could
experience,
reasonably
right?
be done in
So-
less than 5 years. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm
Actually, I do have one that might be a good one.
but not the KEPS website. I was mentioning the KEPS website.
Yeah.
But
No,
that's
it's
not-
sorry.
Lori Apple. Adam has some feedback on information that we could get out of DevStats, though, if you want to loop up after this with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the KEPS website is not an option. It needs too much sophisticated knowledge.
I would probably hold off on doing that until we actually have the metadata in a way that can actually be
Okay.
ingested or used. Because like the Hugo data templates
Mm-hmm.
require you to know the sort of like output, like what the schema looks like before you can use it.
Okay.
All
right. So I'll just table
I'm
that.
sorry.
Yeah, just something bite-sized for Adam that we can just, get some.
I do have one of an issue that I created earlier today, or it might have been yesterday. It is, I'd say, a small step up from a good first issue, but it's replacing the built-in search engine on the contributor site with Google search. I linked the instructions there.
Let's do it. Yep. Adam, do you have a GitHub account?
I do.
Can you send us both?
Let me see which my username is real quick.
What I'll do is, George, I will just get you assigned on this, and then we can loop in that one later because we are now 1 minute over time.
No worries.
So we didn't quite get through our backlog here. We have been doing the stand up each time and then going this usually with like the last half hour. What would you all like to do? Should we just continue this for like another week or two, or make something focused? George?
We are coming up on holidays. I say from now on, the second half of the ContribEx meeting, let's just do the discipline and get this done.
Okay.
Does anybody have strong feelings about that? Like we just compress the meeting to half an hour. It's a weekly meeting now, and then it would feel really good going into 2021 with a cleaner board. How do people feel about that?
Well, it's most like I just want to make sure that the stuff is milestoned and that so we have the items to work on for the remainder. We can probably get it all through the remainder of the month if we do it that way.
Yeah.
So by the end of October, get everything milestoned, or we do like a one-off session on finishing everything out.
Yeah, we could just extend next week's meeting and just finish it as well.
Okay. I'm in favor of that, just to not leave these items dangling in a quasi-state.
I'm down. Yeah, let's just tell people ahead of time so that if they want,
people
they
know.
can plan to stay over.
Okay. I will stop sharing. How does that sound to everyone? Now I can see everyone's faces. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. Thanks for staying the 2 minutes over. We will call that there. And I have to log in my other system to stop the recording.
See ya.
Yep. Thank you everyone for coming. Take care all.
Everyone.